Breaking on 4 News Now at 6, new details on the standoff that closed I-90 this morning. Why investigators say they had to make the tough decision to delay hundreds of drivers and how it's connected to the deadly stabbing of a man in East Central Spokane yesterday.
And the fog that many of us saw this morning is gone for now. I'll show you if we got another foggy drive to the bus stop tomorrow in your first alert forecast.
And one local elementary school is teaching kids all about our democratic process.
Your vote is like your voice.
Hear from some of the students on what it's like to vote in their very own election. You're watching 4 News Now at 6. And we begin with that breaking news. New details on the manhunt for the man accused of stabbing and killing his own father. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Derek Dice. Kirsten O'Connor will be back next week. The stabbing happened last night in the East Central neighborhood of Spokane near Thor and East First. Investigators say they managed to track down 38-year-old Damian Eifert near the Four Lakes exit on I-90. Washington State Patrol says he barricaded himself inside of a stolen car and threatened officers, forcing them to shut down the freeway for almost an hour, delaying hundreds of drivers. We have team coverage tonight, and we begin with our Derek Strom. Derek, you spoke to WSP and neighbors who live near where the stabbing happened.
Derek, neighbors here in East Central Spokane say they were worried when they saw the huge police presence here on Tuesday night, and hearing that a stabbing happened here made them feel very unsafe about living in this neighborhood.
I'm glad that, the police are figuring it out.
Neighbors near Thor Street and East First Avenue say they aren't sure what led to a deadly stabbing Tuesday night, but one man says he was driving through the neighborhood before police arrived.
We were going to McDonald's down there to grab something to eat, and as we were driving by, we seen them arguing, and then on the way back, they had the whole street blocked off. I was like, dang, they must have had like a fighting or something, a stabbing or shooting. I thought it was a shooting, we thought.
Neighbors say they were frightened to hear police sirens and an ambulance Tuesday night, and hearing that a stabbing happened so close to them made things worse.
We seen the ambulance and we seen the guy standing over calling the police, and so it was kind of a crazy situation to be around. So we got our kids out the area for the day, took them to a park.
Early Wednesday morning, Washington State Patrol says it found 38-year-old Damian Eifert, the primary suspect in the stabbing, asleep in a car along I-90 near Four Lakes. Officers were able to figure out the car was stolen, and as other agencies arrived to help, WSP says Eifert was threatening police.
He indicated that he wanted to be left alone and that he would shoot the trooper if he didn't leave him alone, and made statements of threats indicative of having a weapon.
Washington State Patrol Sergeant Greg Riddell says Eifert tried to run away from police, but he was chased down and arrested in a field next to I-90. Spokane police says Eifert is the son of the victim in the stabbing, and Eifert has been charged with second-degree murder. WSP says a quick response from all of the agencies this morning kept things under control and kept them from being much worse. Live in East Central Spokane, Derek Strom, 4 News Now.
All right, Derek, thank you. Drivers passing through Four Lakes on their way to Spokane were stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic during the morning commute. Portions of I-90 were closed for almost 2 hours, and the entire freeway was shut down at around 8 a.m. Allison Martinez describes how the slowdown affected drivers and how the fire department managed it.
This morning, hundreds of drivers were stuck in standstill traffic as all lanes of I-90 were shut down. Police, the sheriff's office, the fire department, and AMR were all on the freeway to investigate a standoff.
I mean, it is definitely scary because anything could have happened, and I do have my baby in my car, so that's a lot.
Shanoa Campbell got up bright and early to take her baby boy to his appointment at Sacred Heart Medical Center.
He had a neurology appointment this morning, so we're driving from Tri-Cities and got stuck in this crazy traffic.
Drivers on both sides of the freeway were diverted onto an already busy road.
I had to drive to get up early this morning and drive here. I had to miss work for this, so it was a little frustrating.
What Shanoa thought was a slowdown for your typical crash turned out to be much more. A man accused of killing his father barricaded himself inside a stolen car with a gun. A full freeway shutdown is rare, but in this case, Spokane County Fire District 3 says it was imperative.
That's abnormal. That doesn't happen often. So our team was standing by and recognized the opportunity to divert traffic and help alleviate some of this congestion and get some of the people out of the area.
Luckily, an arrest was made just after 9 a.m. and no one was harmed. This allowed the freeway to open and drivers to get back on the road. In 4 Lakes, Allison Martinez, 4 News Now.
As you can tell from that video, it was a gloomy morning for many in the inland Northwest as we woke up to fog all around the region. Matt Gray is in for Chris Crocker tonight. And Matt, will we see more of that fog tomorrow?
I am expecting us to see more fog tomorrow, Derek, and then we will see things kind of ease off once we get into Friday morning. But at this point, especially with fairly calm winds out there, I'm not expecting things to be that much different, at least for the start of the morning. So areas of fog gradually progressing to low cloud cover in some areas. The higher benches, like we saw in some of that footage there, as you move up onto the West Plains, you're going to be in the fog, in the clouds, quite literally, for a little bit longer during the day. Temperatures right around freezing as well, so you might have kicked the defrost on, have the ice scraper ready as well for your morning. I want to show you here how this is expected to develop here. So low cloud cover in the gray and then fog in these red and yellow colorings here. So what this shows basically is out of the West Plains again in southern Spokane County, as well as places around Deer Park. That's where we're going to be looking for the longest duration fog, places like Medical Lake and Cheney as well. And this is going to last for a good portion of the morning, just like we saw today. However, I do think that with a little bit less cloud cover over this low-hanging fog, that will help things clear out a lot faster than they did today. So perhaps before lunchtime, we might be able to see the sun come back out once again. Now, after that, we are going to be looking ahead to the weekend and a chance for rain. I'll let you know how to plan around that coming up.
All right, Matt, thank you. This election, we've seen candidates use things like social media in order to attract more young voters. While the young vote is important, statistics show young voter turnout is typically the lowest both nationally and here in Washington. Marissa Rio joins us now. And Marissa, what does voter registration look like so far this year when it comes to that younger population?
It is still pretty low compared to the older population here in Washington. As you can see, just over 9% of registered voters are between the ages 18 to 24. That number jumps to just over 16% for ages 25 to 34, but that is still relatively low when we look at the 65 and over demographics, where it's at nearly 26%. I asked college students today why they think this is.
Older ladies wearing flamboyant purple hats, not the typical students you'd normally see on a college campus. That's because they're not college students. These are grandmas with the Granny Caravan, a nonpartisan group. They were at Spokane Community College today, helping young people register to vote. Here's where I asked students why they believe their peers don't show up at the polls.
A lot of them just believe that it's just a corrupt system, that it's like my vote doesn't matter, and it's why do I vote when I don't see the impact of it?
Other young voters echoed that response, some saying their friends also don't feel well informed.
I think a lot of people think that like their one vote won't really matter, but it's kind of just, if we're banding together and we all do that one little thing, just voting, then more people like you will actually we'll start to see more change if we actually fight for the things that we want and vote for what we want.
As for what's important to these young voters this election season,
it's how they're going to help the homeless situation, because it's getting, the number of people who are getting homeless are bigger every year.
Just being heard by the people that we're voting for, and also things like climate change, stuff like that will and is still affecting our country, our planet.
All students I spoke with today said they believe it's important for their peers to use their voices and to vote this election.
For the 2020 elections, Idaho voter registration demographics also showed that most registered voters were 65 plus. As you can see, just over 27% of registered voters in Idaho in 2020 were 65 plus, compared to about 24.5% for ages 18 to 34. In studio, Marissa Rio, 4 News Now.
All right, Marissa, thank you. One local elementary school wanted to make sure kids didn't miss out on the fun of election season. Instead of voting for president or Congress, students at Moran Prairie voted on their favorite DC and Marvel superheroes. And this wasn't just for fun. It was to show kids the steps they need to take when they become eligible to vote.
I'm voting for Spider-Man. I voted him because he's one of my favorite Marvel characters.
Well, you can hear from students on what they think about our democratic process coming up tonight at 6:30. Great idea. Well, schools everywhere are being bombarded with an unsettling trend. Online threats like the one that shut down Ritzville schools yesterday. Schools in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene have had to fend off more than a dozen threats of violence since the school year began. The majority of them are hoaxes, but given the reality of gun violence in schools, each one has to be investigated.
It's not a joke. You can't say bomb in an airport, and you can't say shoot in a school. You can't say fire in a theater. Those are things you just have to know. There will be consequences because nobody can joke around like that. It's not funny.
In Jordan Smith's special report tomorrow night, we'll take a deep dive into this unsettling trend that's impacting schools all over the nation. We'll show you how one threat can shut down multiple schools across the country, what our schools and police are doing to hold people accountable, and what police say you should not do if you come across a threat online. We'll have all of that during the special report tomorrow on 4 News Now at 6. All right, still ahead here tonight. Despite segregation being outlawed decades ago, thousands of property documents in Spokane still say they can only be occupied by white people. See if you live in an area with these racial covenants and what you can do to change them. Plus, holiday shopping doesn't have to be stressful. We have expert tips to help you get ahead and make this season a breeze. Set yourself up for success. Next on 4 News Now at 6.
Connect with 4 News Now on KXLY+.
Save your greed! Many great careers don't need a 4-year degree. They start out here. Bob Ferguson has a detailed plan to expand apprenticeships and on-the-job training like I had to give more Washingtonians the skills they need to succeed. And Bob will eliminate 4-year degree requirements for most state jobs, opening doors to more good-paying careers. I would support Bob Ferguson, even if he wasn't my kid brother, but it helps he listens to old machinists like me.
Bob Ferguson for governor.
And now a joke from Yolk's Fresh Market. What do goats eat for breakfast? Blueberry pancakes.
Greetings, Bill Nye here. Reading this is easy, right? Your brain is actually doing something called orthographic processing, recognizing letters and words. It's science. But take a look at Initiative 2117. It's written to confuse you. The mega millionaires behind it don't want you to know it will mean more air pollution, threaten clean water, and put our health at risk. You don't have to be a science guy to know that 2117 is a bad deal for Washington.
My name is Bob Rambo, and this is my Summit Cancer Center story. I had lymphoma. I was kind of scared to death, and the doctors recommended I go to Summit Cancer Center. Everybody on the staff there is super neat, nice, and it's kind of like a homecoming. I had lymphoma, and they cured that. I'm very thankful for this cancer center.
Meet the traveling trio, each helping to protect their money with Chase. Tools that help protect. Alerts that help check. One bank that puts you in control. Chase, make more of what's yours.
The excitement of a new school year overshadowed by an unsettling trend.
It is a drain. It's 12, I think, in the last week, just of these unfounded, vague threats.
I'm Derek Dice from 4 News Now. These threats may not always be real, but the fear they create is.
Parents are not going to send their kids to school if they don't feel like they're safe.
How are local schools handling this new reality, and what's being done to keep your child safe?
We take everything serious 100% of the time.
4 News Now investigates Thursday at 6. Well, what's your favorite scary movie? You'll find your favorite nightmares at The Haunt on Boardwalk in 9 Mile Falls. Get in the Halloween spirit at the haunted house, which opens tomorrow and runs through Halloween night.
You're going to get chased. You're going to get jumped at. You're going to get things coming at you in different ways. You won't be expecting it. It'll be dark, and you might get something that you're scared of that you don't really realize you're scared of.
It's definitely dark, all right. Anyone brave enough and ages 5 and up are welcome to this Fear Fest. The actors will make sure their terrors are age appropriate for what each group that attends. Tickets are $10. You can find the link to them inside this story on KXLY.com. Now, if you're looking for something a little more mellow, this Saturday is the Spokane Crawl in downtown. You can complete a scavenger hunt and decipher a riddle to earn a bag full of fall goodies. It's from 11 to 6. Just head to the Loof Carousel to get started. All right, well, Halloween is still about a week away. Experts say now is the time to come up with a budget for the holidays. For many, trying to get everything on their shopping list can be stressful. CNN's Karen Caifa has tips on how you can position yourself to enjoy the holidays.
A new report finds that many Americans feel like they have fallen behind on their emergency savings, and separate data points to consumers worried that they won't be able to keep up with their credit card bills. So experts stress holiday planning now to avoid more anxiety after the new year.
Retailers forecast a big holiday spending season, but consumers have some financial stresses. Bankrate Chief Financial Analyst Greg McBride says their latest research points to many Americans feeling short on emergency savings, mostly blaming inflation.
Americans that haven't increased their emergency savings this year point to that as a culprit. Close behind, too many expenses.
A September survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York also found Americans haven't been this worried about missing a minimum credit card or debt payment since April 2020, early in the COVID-19 pandemic. McBride says it's important to aim for balance during the end of year holiday stretch.
The goal is you want to come out of this without having to raid your savings and without adding to your credit card debt.
Cassandra Rupp, a senior wealth advisor for Vanguard, says consumers can start by cutting smaller everyday expenses for the season, like morning coffee or lunches out.
What are your priorities? How can you create flexibility in your ability to spend while still ensuring that you have the proper amount going into savings and that you're not compromising your future financial success?
And any extra income or bonus should be money in the bank.
A lot of time you start to think about how you could spend that money ahead of actually receiving it. It's hard psychologically to put that off and put it into savings, but really it should be out of sight, out of mind.
A survey from Deloitte pointed to consumers considering some steps toward more cautious holiday spending this season, including less self-gifting and trading down to more affordable brands and retailers. In Washington, I'm Karen Caifa.
Well, coming up after these messages, we'll have your forecast. We've got more frosty, foggy conditions, plus we're keeping an eye on wet weather and when it will arrive this weekend.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Aligned Family Chiropractic.
I grew up in Eastern Washington, and it's where my parents have retired, and it's where my wife and I are raising our family. I'm Michael Baumgartner, and in Congress, I'll work for your family by protecting Social Security and Medicare, ensuring veterans get the benefits they've earned, fighting the inflation that hurts so many seniors, single moms, and young people. And I'll work hard to make our neighborhoods safe by securing the southern border and stopping the fentanyl pouring into the country. I'm Michael Baumgartner, and I approve this message.
There's a new way your family can be targeted. AI imposter scams. Thieves using AI to commit fraud.
You look scared, Whit. Well, I am. That's very believable.
Now tomorrow, the tools you need to know to protect your family on Good Morning America.
In Spokane, access to quality health care is a growing need for many families. The Native Project provides sacred hospitality to the Spokane community, ensuring every patient feels cherished and respected.
The Native Project provides medical, dental, behavioral health, pharmacy, and wellness services for everyone. We serve Native and non-Native patients, focusing on balance of mind, body, and spirit.
Numerica Credit Union is honored to donate $1,000 to the Native Project. This is how Numerica cares for kids.
35 years ago, I started going to Planned Parenthood. They help Washington women with pregnancy care, birth control, even cancer screening. But Dave Reichert tried to jeopardize that care. Reichert has voted repeatedly to defund Planned Parenthood. It's part of Reichert's years-long record, trying to ban abortion nationwide, including here in Washington. No politician should ever tell me that I don't have a right to make a decision regarding my body. Dave Reichert is wrong for governor.
Welcome to Coeur d'Alene Honda.
Thank you. I've been coming here for years, and I've always felt just like family.
Our customers love how easy it is to do business with us.
We have Hondas for every budget.
And we have some of the best pre-owned vehicles to choose from, and select pre-owned Hondas come with their lifetime warranty.
And all new Hondas come with the first year of free maintenance.
Coeur d'Alene Honda with the nationwide lifetime warranty at no additional cost to you.
Awarded Dealer of the Year and rated 4.7 on Google.
At Coeur d'Alene Honda, we've been family owned and operated for over 50 years.
And don't forget about the lifetime warranty.
All right, welcome back. We are in the home stretch in our annual Coats for Kids campaign. You have until the 31st to drop off a new or gently used coat. To find a collection site near you, you can head to kxly.com/coatsforkids. Our meteorologist Matt Gray joins us now, and Matt, those coats will come in handy because things are starting to get a lot colder around.
They're starting to get a little chilly, and we're going to talk about that through this hour, about how the pattern looks as we get closer to November is going to start to change in, well, some interesting ways. Let's put it that way for now. We'll tease you to later. Here's what we can talk about for the moment, and that is that we got to start making our weekend plans around some wet weather. We'll have a little bit on Saturday, but really it looks at this point like Sunday is going to be far and away the wettest day, especially during those daylight hours where obviously everybody's trying to get out and have some fun or get some work done. For Monday, we're also going to keep the wet weather top of mind. So what we just saw today, a little bit of cloud cover, and in fact still fairly cloudy around places like the LC Valley. And that's because we had a weather system that just missed us, passing to our south earlier this morning. And we are going to be waiting for the next round of wet weather here. And so for Friday and tomorrow, things are looking pretty good. This is about 6 p.m., so sunset on Friday, but you look off to the coast, and there comes the next round of rain. Now, at this point, we are going to get a round of it on Saturday, but you can see the timestamp here, 5:30 in the morning. So a very early start to wet weather. And so if you're up early on Saturday, a good chance that you'll run into at least a little bit of rain, but it will dissipate and we'll be back into drier conditions fairly quickly, it looks like, during the daytime hours on Saturday. And so by Saturday evening, cloudy, a little damp, but dry. And we are going to be waiting for the next round of moisture to cross the mountains, but it looks like that is not going to be until Sunday. So make your plans accordingly, and we'll keep you updated if things change as the weekend gets closer. But that's the situation right now. Right now, we're getting set for a clear sky evening. Beautiful sunset that we just had here in Spokane. 44 degrees. We only got up into the upper 40s because that fog and low cloud cover stuck around for so long. Look how chilly we'll end up tonight. Eventually, we're going to reach the point where we start to see some fog developing again, and so we could be much cooler like you see further north in places like Colville, but instead we're only going to drop down into the 30s in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Upper 20s for places like St. Mary's and Pullman. We'll see upper 20s and low 30s in the North Idaho Panhandle. And yes, those areas like Colville dropping into the teens with a little bit of freezing fog in there as well. So very similar to how we started this morning, clouds, fog, and then things lifting a little bit earlier in the day, winds picking up just enough to keep our skies clear for the afternoon, and we should be a little bit warmer. We should pop up to right around 50 degrees or so. We'll see some upper 40s as you head further north. LC Valley, high of around 56. That'll be our warm spot along with Wenatchee. Your planning forecast, yeah, got to plan for wet weather and much cooler weather. Look what happens after the weekend, and we could be on a downhill slide all the way through Halloween and into the start of November. We're going to talk more about that in the next half hour, so don't go anywhere.
All right, we'll get used to it, I guess. Still ahead, whites only. That's what some Spokane County developers wanted for their buildings in the 1900s. Though civil rights laws were put in place in the 60s, some property documents still include these racist statements. How to check if your home has what's called a racial covenant.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
13 days to go, and more Americans turn to David Muir and World News Tonight than any other newscast. The race, a dead heat. With so much at stake, turn to David Muir on election night and ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir, the #1 newscast in America.
As a U.S. Navy veteran, I fought for our freedom and our right to vote. But today, independent voters can't vote in the elections I fought to protect. Over 275,000 Idahoans, including thousands of veterans, are blocked from voting in our primary elections, all because they were closed by party insiders and special interests. Proposition 1 respects veterans like me by opening Idaho's primaries, ensuring every Idaho taxpayer has the right to vote. That's what I fought for, and that's how it ought to be.
Experience frightfully good deals at Consign Furniture and Jewelry. Store-wide discounts with up to 70% off retail and all consigned, one-of-a-kind unique pieces. Plus, get 20% off all online purchases using promo code SPOOKY.
Consign Furniture. Easy way to sell, smart way to buy.
Initiative 2124. It's purposely misleading. So here's what you need to know. Independent analysts say if I-2124 passes, it will bankrupt our affordable long-term care benefit, leaving millions of Washingtonians with no options but private insurance that charges way too much and routinely denies coverage to millions with pre-existing conditions. Don't let it happen. Protect your long-term care benefits. Vote no on I-2124.
What's all this?
You said it was a recovery day. I got my yoga mat, foam roller, electrolytes, and protein bars. The whole setup.
Refrigerant recovery, Ben. We're recovering the refrigerant to fix the heat pump.
Oh, right. I knew that. Want a protein bar?
Get a free heat pump with every furnace purchase at Bill's Heating and AC while supplies last. Call now.
Electrolyte?
Ben, take the robe off.
Are you ready to stay for less and play for more? The Kootenai Casino has low room rates and our most exciting gaming yet. Book now to get your deluxe room at the Kootenai Falls Lodge for just $99 every midweek night in October. And join us for October Hot Spins, Weekend Super Spins, and catch the game Monday nights. Win big in October. Book your getaway at the Kootenai Casino today. Call 888-YOU-ARE-LUCKY or visit KootenaiRiverInn.com.
4 News Now is brought to you by Gold Seal Plumbing.
All right, around the nation now, 1 person is dead and at least 48 others are sick after an E. coli outbreak tied to fast food chain McDonald's. The CDC is currently investigating this multi-state outbreak. CNN's Lee Waldman explains why investigators believe the outbreak is linked to Quarter Pounders.
A health alert coming for the Golden Arches.
Sorry, we don't have the Quarter Pounders at the moment.
The CDC is conducting what they're calling a fast-moving investigation into an E. coli outbreak they say is linked to the popular McDonald's Quarter Pounder and dozens of illnesses reported in at least 10 states, including 1 death of an older person. Nearly a dozen people have been hospitalized, including a child who developed a serious complication that can develop from an E. coli infection. A map on the CDC website shows most of the illnesses are in Colorado and Nebraska.
We reach out to members of the public that have these positive test results and ask them a series of food survey type questions to try and understand foods that they ate leading up to the onset of their illness.
Information reviewed by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration shows that slivered onions are a likely source of contamination.
I want to talk about onions.
I wanted to take
in a video released on YouTube, McDonald's USA President Joe Erlinger says McDonald's has stopped using the onions as well as quarter-pound beef patties in several states while the investigation continues. In an interview with the Today Show, Erlinger assured customers that other items on the menu are safe to eat.
What we've done at McDonald's is taken this swift and decisive action to address the issue that we have so that the public can be confident in McDonald's.
In New York, Lee Waldman reporting.
Well, racial covenants in Spokane County. Thousands of homes with clauses banning non-white residents. Tonight, we uncover this hidden story and how you can help remove these restrictions next on 4 News Now.
Today I voted for Spider-Man, but last time I voted for Wonder Woman.
Plus, one elementary school is teaching kids about our democratic process by letting them vote for their favorite superheroes. The valuable life skills they're learning along the way, next on 4 News Now at 6:30.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
I felt like there was just no answers to get out of the anxiety and the depression that I had.
Introducing NeuroStim TMS, Washington's leading provider of transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS therapy. TMS is not shock therapy. It's an FDA-approved, easy outpatient experience and covered by all major medical insurances.
There's nothing better than just being able to enjoy life again.
Reach out to Neurostim TMS today and rediscover the light and joy in your life.
As County Sheriff, I know Al French is the only candidate who fully supports our local law enforcement.
As a mayor of Medical Lake, I'm confident that Al French is the only candidate with a real plan for affordable housing and clean drinking water.
As the mayor of Airway Heights, I trust that Al French is the only candidate that will keep taxes low and support small businesses.
I trust Al to make our community safer.
And good paying jobs.
And to keep Spokane County affordable.
I'm Al French, and I'm running to get results for you.
Dear unbreakable spirit, when the terrain is gnarly, you steady us. When obstacles are ahead, you lift us. When the turf is hostile, you inspire us. Own a legend. Toyota Trucks.
Right now, you can lease a new 2024 Tacoma for just $349 per month. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Next ET, Denzel Washington, Paul Mescal. Only we can take you to the set of Gladiator 2. Plus, from Golden Bachelorette to Golden Matchmaker.
One is working.
Oh! Next ET.
Watch 4 News Now at 6 and Entertainment Tonight at 7:30.
A Navy veteran and single mom, overwhelmed and struggling.
I literally said, I don't know how this works, but I need help.
See how that one call to the Vanessa Behan Center changed everything. Tomorrow on Good Morning Northwest.
Live from downtown Spokane, this is 4 News Now at 6:30.
Do you think your favorite Marvel superhero is? Or your...
Well, adults aren't the only ones voting this year. Today at Moran Prairie Elementary School, students voted in a primary election to determine the school's favorite comic book character. The idea came from Assistant Principal Tad Heinen as a way for students to feel involved in decisions that affect the school and teach them about the voting process. Madeline Mullins explains how teachers and students are feeling about this election.
Students at Moran Prairie are casting their vote for their favorite comic book character. They walked into the lunchroom today, grabbed their ticket, and then dropped it in who they were voting for.
So today I voted for Spider-Man, but last time I voted for Wonder Woman. Today I voted for Iron Man.
While knowing your favorite comic book character is important, 4th grade teacher Kate Hushka says that this activity is teaching students much more than just who has the cooler superpowers.
Learning how to agree and disagree respectfully and listen to other points of view on top of that.
Hushka has been using this activity as a way to have discussions in her class about the importance of voting.
Your vote is like your voice, like Ms. Hushka said, and if you're not voting, it feels like you're just being silent.
Last Wednesday, students at Moran Prairie voted in a primary election for their favorite DC comic book character. Batman won, but not without a strong fight from Wonder Woman.
When they see that 16 vote difference between the two, when you see that small amount, those are numbers they can relate to, and so it's easier for them to see that their vote does matter.
Now students are choosing between Captain America, Iron Man, and Spider-Man.
I really like Spider-Man because he's like really funny, but he's also like super like cool. Like I like the villains he fights and stuff.
Hushka says that voting on comic book characters makes it easier for students to understand how real-world elections work.
They are relating it to the outside. You know, our parents get to vote on Trump or Harris, and so that's kind of like these same comics.
Next Wednesday is the final vote, and after this very exciting election cycle, Moran Prairie will finally know who their favorite comic book character is. In Spokane, I'm Madeline Mullins, 4 News Now.
All right, my boys went to Moran Prairie. They're out of there now, but they would have loved, I think, to be able to vote in something. Cool. And I like how it's like, you got the DC is like one party, so you have your, primary, and Marvel is the other primary. Then we got to figure out who goes to the general. Like, who would you vote for?
Oh, I feel like on the pure drama, it's
Batman, Iron Man, like those I feel like those are dramatic characters.
It'd be an interesting final matchup.
It'd be fun. Like I'm picturing a debate in my mind. I feel like that would be the most interesting.
Yeah, and Batman would be so dark and brooding in that debate. All right,
Yeah,
you're also filling in for Chris tonight because she's busy picking up donations for our Coats for Kids campaign. And within the last hour, Chris picked up coats from the SCCU branch in Spokane Valley on East Sprague, the credit union telling us why Coats for Kids is so special.
We like the fact that the coats go directly to the individuals that are in need, and that's really kind of what we're about as an organization. We're here for good, and we want to take care of the person or those that are in need.
And earlier today, our anchor Natalie Grant helped deliver hundreds of coats to some of our partners that will help distribute them next month. So, for information on when and where they will be given out, head to KXLY.com/coats for kids. So all of this transitioning here starting on Halloween. Our weather going to transition as well as the colder months of the season begin to approach. I tell you what, tonight definitely feeling like winter is right around the corner in some areas. Slowly but surely, as we always do this time of year, we start to see these freezing temperatures and those temperatures in the 20s showing up more and more often as October rolls on. Got to say, though, Colville tonight, 19 degrees. That's a little tough. That's a little tough here even for late October. But, yeah, a bit chilly for the start of the day, much like it was this morning. We'll also likely see some foggy weather in our northern valleys and into Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Here's some other cool spots. Deer Park down to 24 tonight. Spirit Lake down to 27. Meade down to 28. We'll be hovering in those 30s as our chance for foggy weather much more likely as you hit I-90 and then south across the Palouse on some of the higher benches there and into the West Plains. So much like we saw this morning, don't be surprised if you're doing a little bit of ice scraping or blasting the defroster in the morning with temperatures right around freezing and that freezing fog hanging around. Now, things I expect to lift a little bit faster than they did today. It was almost 1 in the afternoon around Spokane before we started to see the sunshine. I think we may beat that by an hour or two, and that I think will be very helpful because our extended forecast, the sun, we may not be seeing it for a little while with lots of active weather and much cooler weather as well. So we'll take a deeper dive into what's coming up as we end the month of October coming up.
All right, Matt, thank you so much. This weekend, Vanessa Behan will be hosting its biggest fundraiser of the year. Over the years, its Pumpkin Ball has raised millions of dollars to help keep kids safe and build strong families in our community. The organization has helped thousands, including Sierra, a Navy veteran, and a single mom of 2 who fell on hard times.
Crying on the phone, asking someone to take my kids, and now I can breathe a little bit, knowing that it's there. Like if I truly needed it again, like it's there.
Hear how the organization would use the money to help more people like Sierra and her kids in my special report tomorrow morning on Good Morning Northwest starting at 5 a.m. Well, research from Eastern Washington University shows thousands of homes here in Spokane have covenants that restrict who can live in them based on their race. Our Alexander Coenyard spoke with those who have seen these covenants firsthand and shares what you can do to get rid of them.
That we actually saw physically with my own eyes a covenant that said no person of Negro blood shall occupy the property. So it was probably about 6 years ago.
This is what Latrice Williams, a realtor in Spokane, saw when looking through a title for a home she was selling. An Eastern Washington University study found that covenants like this can be found in 6,400 homes in Spokane County.
Property covenants are meant to be difficult to remove, and they're often buried very deep in the deeds, the chain of title for a property.
Racial covenants in Spokane mostly started emerging after the 1920s. That is why they are especially prevalent in newer neighborhoods, like here in Comstock.
If I was to purchase a home there and had restrictive covenants on it, I wouldn't be excited about living there, you know.
Although these covenants cannot be enforced, they are still nestled in property documents. This is an example of one. It reads, no person of any race other than that of the white or Caucasian race shall use or occupy any building or any lot. Vista Title and Escrow, a Spokane title company, has spearheaded an effort to help clients through the process of getting these discriminating covenants removed.
We don't know what the future looks like in terms of U.S. law. And here's an opportunity, here's this window of time that we have now where a homeowner can declare it void. Why not take that opportunity.
House Bill 1335, passed in 2021, is what funded Eastern's research on racial restriction covenants and is what makes it so homeowners can now get rid of them.
I think that removing those covenants it takes a step further. We have work to do, right? But it gets us a step further on how we can repair the harm that was made so long ago.
There will be a workshop to get legal help to remove these on October 26th at the South Hill Library and on November 9th at the Shadle Park Library. In Spokane, Alexander Conyards, 4 News Now.
Well, around the Northwest now, we are awaiting the results from the vote on the latest contract put forward by Boeing to end a nearly 6-week machinist strike. The current offer is a 35% pay increase over 4 years and an increase in Boeing's contribution to a 401k plan. The contract also includes a $7,000 ratification bonus for each worker, as well as a performance bonus. However, it does not reinstate the company's defined pension.
I have a partial pension, but for the young people that like a pension and like to have something when they're through working, I think that's important.
Now, hours before voting began, Boeing reporting a $6.1 billion quarterly loss due primarily to costs associated with the strike. In a letter to investors, the company's new CEO, Kelly Ortberg, saying trust in the company has eroded and they've had serious lapses in performance across the company, which have disappointed customers. Ortberg promising to turn things around, starting first with changing the culture at the company. Well, the Idaho Supreme Court denied a request to stop the execution of the state's longest death row inmate. Thomas Creech requested his execution date be delayed as he and his attorney developed arguments for an appeal. But the court determined Creech had plenty of time to come up with arguments since his botched execution back in February. The court also said it cannot stop an execution that's still under appeal, and appeals do not require extending the timeline. This is one of the ways Creech was trying to stop his execution. The other way is a plea in federal court that's still pending. Creech was originally sentenced to death for a string of murders in the 70s.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Shrek the Musical. Tickets at BroadwaySpokane.com.
I spent my career in law enforcement, the last years as police chief. When it comes to keeping Washington safe, I trust Bob Ferguson.
Bob's top priority is public safety. His plan to hire more police officers is exactly what we need.
He'll create a statewide response unit to tackle the fentanyl crisis.
And he'll put the $1 billion he won from drug companies into treatment.
To help us protect Washington,
I trust Bob Ferguson.
Bob Ferguson for governor.
It's Truck Month at Findlay Downtown Toyota, and that means our lot is stacked and packed full with over 100 of the best Toyota Tundras and Tacoma trucks. And we are dropping prices dramatically on all 2024 models to move them out, plus delaying all payments until next year. And as an added bonus, we are giving extra money for your trade-ins. So if you're even thinking of a new truck for winter, come on down to Findlay.
BCU's free Shred and E-Cycle event is back. On October 26th, bring your sensitive documents you'd like destroyed to the Spokane Arena and we'll shred them for free.
We will also take your other E-Cycle products like laptops, TVs, and other devices for safe disposal.
Consider bringing cans of food or cash donations for our Shred Day partners, Inland Northwest.
Let's clear the clutter and reduce our carbon footprint at BECU's Shred and E-Cycle event, October 26th at the Spokane Arena.
Are you struggling to get through the day? Are you experiencing chronic pain, burning, numbness, and tingling in your hands or feet? Pay attention, because you are probably experiencing peripheral neuropathy. The most common symptoms are numbness, burning, muscle cramps, and problems with balance. Neuropathy is treatable, and our office can help. It's time to get real results. Pick up your phone and call us right now. If you're one of the first 25 callers, you'll receive a free nerve damage screening. This nerve damage screening will tell you if you're at risk for serious nerve damage and if you're qualified for our cutting-edge treatment program to stop the nerve damage. Don't wait until it's too late and your symptoms get so bad that you lose your freedom and are restricted to a wheelchair, walker, or need amputation. Call now to be one of the first 25 callers to receive a free nerve damage screening. Hurry, call now to find out if you qualify for our free nerve damage screening and see how we can change your life. It's time to feel better. Call today.
Well, the two holdover teams in the Pac-12 Conference will play each other twice next season as the teams round out their football schedules for 2025. WSU will play Oregon State in Corvallis on November 1st. Then the Cougs will host the Beavers in Pullman on November 29th. That's the latest matchup announced for the 2025 season as the teams look to fill their schedules before the Pac-12 expands to more teams for 2026. WSU has already announced games against Idaho, San Diego State, North Texas, UW, Virginia, Ole Miss, Toledo, and Louisiana Tech. They still need 2 more to fill out the schedule. Well, a woman is now suing the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Bob Norris for defamation and inflicting emotional distress. The lawsuit stems from an incident in April at the Kootenai County Republican Party Candidate Forum. During the meeting, Norris was speaking about what he had done for the community by removing what he called pornographic books in the children's section of the library. At some point, Penny Collinson claims Norris pointed at her and said she loves to give oral sex and photograph child pornography at the library. Collinson says Norris committed libel, slander, and defamation with his comments in the meeting. Norris responded, calling the lawsuit frivolous and going on to say it is local lawfare to create doubt and uncertainty regarding his character. Well, driving conditions can change quickly, but knowing how to protect yourself can make a big difference in surviving a crash, fire, flood, or severe storm. Consumer Reports' Jaima Crespo reveals some essential ways to stay safe when things take a turn for the worse.
What started as a routine drive changed in the blink of an eye for Andrea Garnsars.
The bag to the car blew up on the steering wheel. There was an accident.
Andrea says a car slammed into hers from behind. Her car was wrecked and she was shaken.
I was just like in a state of shock.
The best way to protect yourself is to reduce the risk of a crash. Bad weather like fog, rain, snow, or ice can lead to a chain reaction crash.
When visibility is low, it's harder for drivers to see what's ahead. Cars also take longer to stop on wet or icy roads, so it's really important to slow down and leave space between you and other vehicles to help keep you safe.
Pay attention to drivers around you, especially those following too closely. In slippery conditions, ease off the gas to slow down instead of applying the brakes forcefully, which can cause skidding. There are other scary car situations where Consumer Reports says knowing what to do can make the difference between life and death. While less common than they were decades ago, almost 400 passenger vehicle fires still happen on average every day. If it happens to you, act fast.
Pulling over immediately is crucial if you smell smoke or see flames. Once stopped, shut off the car, get out, and move at least 100 feet away from the vehicle and call 911. Attempting to fight the fire on your own, especially without the appropriate extinguisher, can be a deadly mistake.
Consumer Reports also recommend staying away from the front and back of the car to avoid flying parts. It's safer to stay upwind to avoid breathing in harmful gases. And if you can, stay behind the guardrail or off the road in case another car hits the vehicle. Then there's flooding. Flooded roads are more dangerous than they look. Just 12 inches of water can sweep away a small car, and 2 feet of water can move larger vehicles. Even a small puddle can cause you to lose control. So it's important to stay cautious. Since it's often hard to gauge the depth of water, the best advice is to avoid driving through any standing water. Turn around and take a different route or stay home until the weather clears up. Besides the personal risk, floodwaters can ruin your engine and electronics, sometimes leaving your car beyond repair. As for Andrea Garnsars, she knows she was lucky.
Thankfully, nothing happened to my legs on top of it because of the bash into the front of the bus.
This is Jaima Crespo.
All right, some good information there, and kind of appropriate considering some of the more tricky driving times of the year are only just a few weeks away. We'll talk about some changes on the way as well as we end the month of October in your forecast coming up.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
This season, fall into Coeur d'Alene. Fall is a great time to visit Coeur d'Alene. With awesome weather, fall color cruises, exciting events, a variety of food, beer, and wine selections, and amazing accommodations. It's the perfect time to stay and play in CDA. Visit cdafall.com for more information.
Spokane's hottest music.
Break me for so done with you, girl. I've been popping, man, I feel just like a rock star.
Hot 96.9.
I grew up in Eastern Washington, and it's where my parents have retired, and it's where my wife and I are raising our family. I'm Michael Baumgartner, and in Congress, I'll work for your family by protecting Social Security and Medicare, ensuring veterans get the benefits they've earned, fighting the inflation that hurts so many seniors, single moms, and young people. And I'll work hard to make our neighborhoods safe by securing the southern border and stopping the fentanyl pouring into the country. I'm Michael Baumgartner, and I approve this message.
Great news, Spokane! The Honda store downtown was sold and is now Findlay Downtown Honda. Come see all the new special offers and deals on your favorite Honda Accords and Honda Pilots, as Findlay Downtown Honda celebrates by offering exceptional pricing on all Hondas and fantastic trade-in offers.
Let me hear you say yay! I got soul!
Greetings, Bill Nye here. Reading this is easy, right? Your brain is actually doing something called orthographic processing, recognizing letters and words. It's science. But take a look at Initiative 2117. It's written to confuse you. The mega millionaires behind it don't want you to know it will mean more air pollution, threaten clean water, and put our health at risk. You don't have to be a science guy to know that 2117 is a bad deal for Washington.
Papa Murphy's everyday value lineup means big savings on big flavors, like our new shredded pepperoni, crumbled sausage, or classic cheese pizzas, all for the small price of $7.99 each. Order now at papamurphys.com.
4 News Now is brought to you by the Cal Superstore in Airway Heights.
Well, your favorite goldfish-shaped crackers are getting a new name to attract adults. For a limited time, they'll be called Chilean sea bass, but don't worry, they'll still look and taste the same. The company said the move is just a playful reminder that the snack isn't just for kids. We still have goldfish in my house like all the time, and I am certainly not ashamed to dig it.
Chilean sea bass.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to call them that, but
I like the graham cracker versions of the goldfish. Yeah, I really like those growing up as a kid. You know what? It worked. It worked because I'm thinking about goldfish. So there you go. Congratulations. You won. I also looked up Chilean sea bass, and boy, that is not a pretty fish. Oh my goodness. Yikes. Anyway, speaking of critters, I figured I'd share you with this. You can see the fall colors in the background here at Cannon Hill. Thanks to Marty Stowe for grabbing this, and Mallard giving us the side eye here. Just one example of some of our Wildlife Wednesday photos. So beautiful at this time of the year. Chris is going to have a bunch more tonight on 4 News Now at 11. In the meantime, it's time for your forecast. Our camera, of course it did, right before the segment. Just switched over to nighttime mode here. We just had a wonderful sunset. Temperatures still in the 40s. By the way, warmer right now than it was at, say, 1 in the afternoon when we were still in the mid-30s, thanks to the low clouds and fog over the area. I think we will struggle to warm up again tomorrow similarly, but by lunchtime, we're back to the 40s. We should pop up to right around 50 degrees, so a little bit warmer. Sunshine for the afternoon. A beautiful second half of the day, at least, as long as you don't get stuck in that fog in the morning. It'll be beautiful for you as well. Upper 40s, low 50s. Now, let's take a look here at what is coming up next, which is some rain this weekend. So far, it looks like Saturday during the daytime hours is going to be dry. Sunday, we see some wet weather, but I'm more interested as we look further ahead beyond the weekend. You see, this is Monday, where we're still expecting a decent chance for some wet weather. But notice here these purple colors. Really a strong trough dropping across the western United States And that means cool air is going to be rushing into the Pacific Northwest. Some of the coolest air we have seen this season, if not the coolest air we've seen this season. And we're about to see a double whammy this week, and this is showing up in every weather computer that you can think of. A small period of recovery, and then the next storm comes roaring in for the middle of the week. So that Wednesday, Thursday time frame. So yes, Halloween, we may have to start worrying about raincoats the way things are looking right now. But once again, some pretty cold temperatures. And we'll already be pretty cold by the time that second system gets here because we'll have already been primed by the first one. So in other words, what am I trying to say? You might be able to get the drift here. You might be able to get the drift here with this. As we look 6 to 10 days from now, the U.S. Climate Prediction Center across the entire West, 70% chance or more of below average temperatures. So what are we looking at? Well, I think the next big thing in our weather, and something we're going to be watching for the next 7 days very closely, is a chance by the time we get to this time next week, we could be talking about our first decent amount of snow for the mountain passes. So yeah, we're already there, folks. It's time to start thinking about that long distance travel and how the weather might affect that. So something to keep in mind. And why not? Look at these temperatures. Lows around freezing, highs only in the upper 40s, and that's down in the valleys and lowlands. So you can imagine what's going to be going on up in the mountains with 2 shots of cold air coming in for next week. So we'll keep you updated. In the meantime, enjoy this nicer weather. Well, we've got it this week.
All right, Matt, thank you. Before we head to a break, here's a look at ABC's primetime lineup for your Wednesday night.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
What's all this?
You said it was a recovery day. I got my yoga mat, foam roller, electrolytes, and protein bars. The whole setup.
Refrigerant recovery, Ben. We're recovering the refrigerant to fix the heat pump.
Oh, right. I knew that. Want a protein bar?
Get a free heat pump with every furnace purchase at Bill's Heating and AC while supplies last. Call now.
Electrolyte?
Ben, take the robe off.
Stay ahead of your child's moderate to severe eczema. And they can show off clearer skin and less itch with Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists that helps heal your child's skin from within. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems, such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your child's eczema specialist about Dupixent.
With Chevy trucks, be ready for adventure. With power you can count on. Capability that doesn't compromise. A hard-working EV with more range than any competitor and the potential to take you anywhere. It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. See your hometown Chevy dealer today.
35 years ago, I started going to Planned Parenthood. They help Washington women with pregnancy care, birth control, even cancer screening. But Dave Reichert tried to jeopardize that care. Reichert has voted repeatedly to defund Planned Parenthood. It's part of Reichert's years-long record, trying to ban abortion nationwide, including here in Washington. No politician should ever tell me that I don't have a right to make a decision regarding my body. Dave Reichert is wrong for governor.
I did know that back pain, foot pain come along with the job of waiting tables.
This is Tony.
Things that I've tried have failed.
And this is Tony's Good Feet story.
Before my arch supports, I felt defeated. But since getting the arch supports from the Good Feet store, I have had no pain, which still is kind of crazy to me. I'm more positive. It's like opening up a whole new life, like sunshine coming out. I would recommend it to anyone. You've tried everything that's not working, give it a try.
See how we can help you too at the Good Feet store.
4 News Now is brought to you by Perfection Tire.
Well, coming up tonight on Nightside, we'll tell you how the slime in your dishwasher could unlock a solution to global warming.
I don't know how to follow that up, Derek. I don't know how to follow that up. Well, I tell you what, looks like we're going to have plenty of active weather. That 4 News Now weather app going to be come in handy this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you all tonight at 11. You can always find the latest on KXLY.com.